When you're a notorious assassin and you meet an old, illiterate master with a heart of gold, a hilarious misunderstanding begins. The words "wanted for assassination" are interpreted as a sacred family recipe. Jack, Casey, and the thief step into a world they don't understand. When you are a notorious assassin but happen to meet an illiterate teacher with a heart of gold, a hilarious misunderstanding begins to rewrite your dark fate. The old master nimbly points at the words, misinterpreting the "wanted for assassination" notice as a secret heirloom manual meant for his very first group of disciples. Out steps Jack, a mountain of a man whose very presence makes the air turn cold, carrying a reputation that has terrified the kingdom for many years. Beside him is Casey, the master of shadows and poisons, whose gaze is as sharp as the hidden daggers tucked away beneath his tattered prison robes. Finally, the nimble thief emerges, blinking in the bright sun, wondering why the gates of hell have suddenly opened to let such dangerous souls walk free. The master looks at the charge of manslaughter and beams. He thinks it means man's laughter, a talent for bringing joy and comedy to the world's men. He hugs the giant criminal tightly, laughing heartily. He tells Jack that the world needs more of his laughter, leaving the cold-blooded killer completely speechless and confused. The prison guards stand paralyzed in fear, sweat pouring down their faces as they watch the most dangerous man in the realm being treated like a puppy. The criminals exchange a glance of pure confusion, unsure if they should strike him down or follow this strange, smiling man into the unknown bright future. And so, the strangest academy in history begins its journey, led by a man who sees saints where the rest of the world sees only heartless demons. As they enter the bustling streets of the capital, the contrast couldn't be sharper between the dancing old man and his three grim, terrifying shadow followers. The citizens recognize the faces from the wanted posters and flee in panic, diving for cover behind fruit stalls and closing their doors in absolute terror. Jack attempts to show kindness, as the master requested, but his grimace only makes the people believe he is picking out his very next unlucky victim. Casey's natural instinct to scout for danger is misinterpreted by the crowd as a professional killer searching for the perfect spot to land a fatal blow. Suddenly, a small child drops a piece of candy right in Jack's path, freezing in place like a rabbit caught in the eyes of a hungry wolf. With a slow and deliberate movement, the giant reaches down, his scarred fingers picking up the tiny treat while the entire street holds its collective breath. He offers the candy back with a terrifying grin, honestly trying to be helpful, but his face is the stuff of nightmares for any living soul nearby. The child screams in terror and bolts away, leaving Jack standing there with a look of genuine disappointment and total confusion on his massive, rugged face. The once busy market becomes a ghost town in seconds, as the reputation of these three men proves much stronger than any actual attempt at being nice. The master looks back at the silence and smiles. He believes the people are so impressed by his disciples that they are speechless and staying away. He praises them, saying their aura of goodness is so profound that it brings a sudden, holy calm to the normally chaotic and noisy city streets. They realize that this old man's innocence is his greatest shield, making him completely blind to the trail of terror they are accidentally leaving behind them. They finally arrive at the master's humble academy, which turns out to be an old kitchen that looks more like a chamber for weapon training. The knives hanging on the walls are polished to a deadly edge, catching the light in a way that makes the three criminals feel strangely home. The master hands Jack a massive cleaver and asks him to use his natural strength to prepare the ingredients for their very first family dinner together. Jack unleashes his assassin's speed, his hands a blur of motion as he strikes the cutting board with the precision of a master lethal warrior. The wooden board stands no chance against his strength, exploding into splinters as Jack treats the vegetables like enemies he was once paid to eliminate. The master cheers, calling it the art of the onion, convinced that Jack's violent technique is simply a passionate expression of his hidden love for cooking. Casey is assigned to the spices, and he approaches the salt and pepper as if he is mixing a potion that could end a king's life. His precision is unmatched, measuring every grain of salt with a focus so intense that sweat begins to bead on his forehead from the sheer stress. The master believes Casey's caution comes from a desire for culinary perfection, never realizing the man is actually terrified of accidentally poisoning his new teacher. Meanwhile, the thief uses his nimble fingers to wash dishes so fast they seem to vanish and reappear instantly, sparkling clean and perfectly stacked away. The master stands tall, beaming with pride as he watches his students work, convinced that he has finally found the perfect successors for his legacy. The three hardened men whisper in the corner, wondering if the master is secretly a legendary martial arts god who is testing their patience and loyalty. He reveals his secret heirloom, a basic noodle recipe, but his dramatic presentation makes the criminals believe they are learning a forbidden, high-level spiritual technique. The day of the grand opening arrives, and the sign for the diner hangs proudly, beckoning the brave and the hungry to enter their world. The curious townspeople gather at a safe distance, unable to believe their eyes as the kingdom's most wanted men appear wearing clean, white cooking aprons. Jack stands at the entrance, towering over the threshold, trying his best to look like a friendly waiter while accidentally casting a shadow of doom. He serves the first bowl with a low, rumbling voice, telling the customer to eat every single bite, or he might become very, very sad. The customer eats in a state of absolute terror, his tears mixing with the broth, while the master watches from the back, touched by his emotion. In the shadows, a foolish local thief tries to pick the pocket of a diner guest, unaware of who is actually running this peculiar little establishment. Before the thief can react, Jack is behind him, a massive hand landing on his shoulder like the weight of a collapsing mountain of pure justice. The petty criminal realizes he has messed with the wrong crowd and runs straight to the guards, begging for a jail cell to escape Jack's gaze. The high official arrives with a squad of armed soldiers, ready to shut down the diner and drag the three criminals back to the dark dungeon. But instead of a bloodbath, he finds the legendary killers diligently cleaning tables and serving tea with a level of discipline he has never seen before. He takes a hesitant bite of the noodles and freezes. The flavor is surprisingly divine, filled with a warmth that seems to melt his cold heart. The chef assassins have unintentionally created a masterpiece, blending their deadly precision with the master's simple and honest recipes to create something truly magical. As the moon rises, the four of them sit together in the quiet night, the first day of their new lives finally coming to a close. Jack stares at his own hands, surprised to find that for the first time in years, they don't smell of iron and death, but of spices. Casey feels a strange sense of peace, realizing that his talent for mixing substances can actually be used to make people happy instead of causing them harm. The giant man bows to the sleeping master, showing a type of respect he has never felt for any king or any powerful crime lord before. The master talks in his sleep, his voice soft and full of love, calling them his good children who have finally found their true path in life. A silent bond forms between the three men as they realize that they have been given a second chance by the only man who couldn't see their sins. Days turn into weeks as they train seriously, focusing their lethal skills into the culinary arts under the master's bizarre but strangely effective guidance. The townspeople begin to return, no longer running in fear but lining up for the food that has become the talk of the entire royal capital. Sometimes, all the world needs is a grand misunderstanding and a heart that refuses to judge, allowing even the darkest souls to find their way home. A new morning brings a new face to the prison gates, an arsonist with a dangerous reputation for burning everything he touches to the ground. The master reads arsonist and claps his hands in delight, assuming it means he is an expert grill master who can cook perfect roasted meats. The three original disciples sigh and shake their heads, preparing to welcome another monster into their strange and wonderful family of reformed cooking legends. The Master's Academy continues to grow. Remember, a new life is just a misunderstanding away. Like and subscribe for the next spicy and hilarious episode.